One mic.
All I need is one mic.
What's the name of the show?
One mic with Big Mike.
You know, ain't nobody getting hurt, ain't nobody. You know, there's no crime being committed.
And they say his style is too urban for the radio.
This is real life stuff that's happened to me.
Well, you know what?
You, and you.
One mic with Big Mike.
I like to be able to do what I want to do.
A sports talk show, but no subject matter is off limits.
Meek Mill's concert is not called the Hell Yeah, I Banged Khloe Kardashian concert.
And now, your host,
Put your hands together for the one, the only
Big Mike.
One mic. Welcome into the Monday edition. Or, no, it's not even Monday. It's actually, yeah. As a reminder, it is Wednesday. I don't know why I'm so loud today. I feel like I'm loud. All right. Welcome into the Hump Day edition of the One Mic with Big Mike show. I, of course, am your host, Big Mike. Here with you to get all these sports and these great topics out of the way today. Hope you guys had a good Wednesday. Don't forget you're hearing me via Spreaker.com as well as on my website, onemicwithbigmike.com. And also, I think today, I'm not sure, but very soon, you'll be able to hear me on Blast Radio. I'll get more information. I'll gather the information about the new outlet. But as of right now, I think I am on Blast. But as I get more comfortable with the form and all these kind of things, I'll get you guys up to speed with that. I'm also streaming a live video on Facebook right now. My Facebook page is facebook.com/ONEMICWITHBIGMIKE, One Mic with Big Mike. Also, if you guys want to follow me on social media, I'm on Twitter and Instagram at the number one MICWITHBIGMIKE. Also, don't forget, if you don't get a chance to hear the show in its entirety and you have to come back later on, that's quite possible. You can do it via YouTube. You can do it via iTunes, TuneIn, the iHeartRadio app as well. Also, my website and Spreaker, as well as the Spreaker app, have every episode archived. So I'm there for you on those fronts. Let me make sure I've gotten everything out the way. Oh, and on Monday, last week, I started a thing called Sound Off, where you guys can call a phone number, record your thoughts or your comments on a particular subject matter of your choosing, or I also throw out a question. This week's question was, I want to get you guys' feelings on the black athletes participating and representing the United States in this coming Summer Olympics. And, in the wake of everything that's happened in the last week and a half or so with the police shootings and everything, I wanted to get, kind of gauge the temperature of everyone to see how, you guys were feeling about that. The number is 678-568-9011. It's 678-568-9011. You can call at any time. If you call after 5 o'clock on the day that I'm doing the show, which, by the way, the shows air live every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, you have to wait till the next episode to hear your sound off, because, again, I have to get the audio clips and then load them up and then play them after the fact during the show. So that's how that's going to work. We'll try it out for a couple of weeks and see how things mash together. As far as today's show goes, got a wonderful guest at 7:30, man, and you guys rarely hear me say that in advance of the guest, but her story is miraculous. Her name is Marvellous Iheukwumere. Iheukwumere. I'm gonna get it right, and I don't want to butcher it when she finally calls in. She's gonna do a Skype call. I think she's in Nigeria right now, if I'm not mistaken, getting ready to try to qualify for the Rio Olympics. So we got a bunch of stuff to talk to her about. She's also an NBA associate, so she works in the association. So I get to talk to her about basketball. I get to talk to her about life. I get to talk to her about track and field and the Olympics and all this stuff. So it should be a very, hopefully, I hold up my end of the bargain and turn it into a very well-rounded interview. As far as today's show goes, as usual, when we have a guest, and we've had a string of guests. I've been on a guest streak. I don't know how to handle myself. Football season's coming up, so hopefully, we keep the streak going and get some wonderful guests. I'm sure we will, man. Thanks to my buddy Renee Cooper, who's helping me out so much with the show. You guys just don't know, man. I can't thank her enough. As far as today goes, of course, the guest Marvellous will be at 7:30, and yes, that is her real name, Marvellous. And at the top of the hour, we'll take a look back and we'll do our daily segment, my daily segment on this day, where I give you guys some factoids and some tidbits on some things going on in the world, or some things that have gone on in the world of sports. I got some news out of the NCAA. I want to talk to you guys about a new proposal made by the Power 5 conferences. The NFL, like I said, we're ramping up to NFL season, and somebody won't be there at the beginning. Somebody who usually is there, and I think for the last maybe 13, 14 game openers, he's been there. And I think we finally got a decision as to what his fate will be. So we'll talk about that. I got updates, of course. Now I have to update the Draymond Green situation because I mentioned it. If I never mentioned it, I wouldn't have to, move the story forward. But apparently, Draymond Green, the guy who he got into an altercation with, is a senior at Michigan State. It was like a 2-day ordeal. Draymond bumped into the dude. Egos flared, as they sometimes do. Draymond had some people with him. This is all alleged. Some people with him that kind of checked homeboy and this girl. The next day, my man had rolled up on Draymond again, I want to talk about yesterday. One thing led to another. Apparently, Draymond said, I bought your scholarship or something of that nature. I think Draymond donated like $4 million to Michigan State last year when he signed that big $85 million deal. So he got he's alleged to have made the comment that he, I'm paraphrasing, bought his scholarship, or I buy scholarships, or whatever it is. One thing led to another. The police that were on scene one said he saw my man get slapped. The other dude said he just heard a loud slap from across the park lot or something crazy. That turned from that into them asking homeboy if he wanted to press charges. He said yes. Then his story became it wasn't a slap, it was a punch, which, by the way, I would have said the same thing too, because I have a couple of general rules in life. That one is, as one grown man to another, you can't open hand slap me. That's more like, if we got a disagreement, punch me. Let's do it the manly way. If you slap me, now you've hit me and you've disrespected me. Like back in the day when they get a glove and just paint swipe a dude's face. Yeah, I can't. Nah. So if I'm telling the story after the fact, I'm like, oh yeah, he punched me. Well, everyone else said it was a slap. So that's your Draymond Green update. What else do we have? Dwight Howard was introduced to the Atlanta Hawks today via press conference, and he got weirdly emotional. You know what I mean? So I want to talk about that. I got a lot of stuff, a lot of meat on the bone today, man. And I didn't think I was going to have that at the beginning. I never do, but today is a little bit different. As I'm watching TV right now, the ESPYs, they're getting ready. Everybody's getting ready for the ESPYs tonight, the ESPN Sports Award show that I hardly ever see it. Sometimes I think I saw Drake's, I don't know if you call it the monologue at the beginning. My man Rob Calloway, my former co-host, laughed because I've never seen the Stuart Scott, the entirety of the Stuart Scott speech. I've seen the clips that they've played, and I can gather how emotional it was, especially knowing firsthand the type of things he had to go through to even make it to the ESPYs that year. But I'm not a big award show guy, you know what I mean? So it's going to be on while I'm talking, but, it's whatever. This year though, it's going to be another, I think I can probably bet it's going to be another tearjerker. My man, Craig Sager, another guy who, again, there's a certain kinship. I know the type of things he's going through, in his battle, in his fight right now. And, he's going to be receiving the Jimmy V Humanitarian Award, I think it's called, or the Courage Award, the same award that Stuart Scott received and that Leah Steele received, I think, last year. So I can anticipate that, being the highlight, the emotional moment of this year's ESPYs. So I may talk about some of the presenters and some of the categories as the show goes on. I may not have time, but and then now we have new developments in the Penn State Jerry Sandusky situation, something I've been talking about for, this portion of it with the insurance company. There's a lawsuit going on, between the insurance company and Penn State. I'm not sure if it's settled yet, but within this lawsuit, certain documents are being unsealed, and we're finding out a little bit more and more and more. We're finding out that Joe Paterno knew, as of today, what was going on with these kids' A kid came to him in 1976, be 40 years ago, telling him that Jerry Sandusky, in a very graphic way, describing to Joe Paterno what had happened to him in a public setting, by the way, because as the kid is describing what happened to him, he yells out in there, and a bunch of people turned around, and this douchebag Sandusky says, I didn't know I was that close. I'm not going to get into all what he did. If you want to read it, you can, but it's just weird and stupid and just, deplorable. And then two other names came out. One that you may know, one that you may not know. Greg Schiano, former Tampa Bay Bucks head coach, former Rutgers head coach, now Ohio State University, assistant head coach and defensive coordinator, and Tom Bradley, he's a defensive coordinator at UCLA. They were all part of that staff, and apparently now there's documentation out saying these affidavits and these under oath statements that these two dudes knew about it as well, what was going on. And to me, in a situation like that, if it turns out like this. If these things are true, you're putting your career in front of the livelihood of kids, man. And I can't in any way pardon that. These dudes now have gotten rich beyond their wildest means coaching football. You know what I mean? And you can only assume that in that time, the 80s and the before, that had they spoken out, it may have turned out differently for them. You know what I mean? Because of the emperor status that a guy like Joe Paterno has on the campus of Penn State University. This is the One Mic with Big Mike show here on a Wednesday, a hump day. You're listening to me either via Spreaker.com, Spreaker.com, or my website, onemicwithbigmike.com. That is the number one, MICWITHBIGMIKE.com. My chat room is open. I didn't mention that. The chat room is open. If you guys want to jump on in the conversation, you can do so via the live interactive chat room by clicking that little thought bubble you see on the streaming player, whether you're listening via the Spreaker app, my website, or Spreaker.com. Just click on that thought bubble. You jump on in the chat room. You guys can be a part of the show as well. Now, I got to continue a conversation that, the conversation we've been having for at this point about a week now. And it has to do with the shootings in Minnesota and the shootings in Louisiana and the shootings in Dallas. And a lot of the shrapnel is still flying around. And now it's become from a sports standpoint, it's become a commentary about the responsibilities of athletes in the social atmosphere and how they handle it and the things that they're willing to say or the things that they're expected to say. And I mentioned it a little bit last night in talking about Carmelo Anthony's plea to athletes to forget about the endorsements. The world needs you to speak up and speak out. And, everyone kind of labeled it courageous and, good for him and patting Carmelo on the back. And the point I was making last night is there was nothing hard about what Carmelo Anthony did. There was nothing sacrificed that he was sacrificing to do that. In the grander scheme of things, most rational people are on his side. Like when you say, the police shouldn't be killing black kids in the street, black men in the streets, during traffic stops, during the selling of loose cigarettes or the selling of bootleg CDs. That's pretty much a common theme amongst people in this world that we live in, this groupthink world, this cult of likability. You're not really stepping out on too much of a limb to say that. The people who are on the other side of that issue, they're the wackos. If someone came out, if I'm looking at Kobe Bryant on television right now. If Kobe Bryant came out right now, I was like, whatever, man, I ain't saying nothing. I got my money. Then we have a very bold and courageous statement. Then people will be jumping on his case because he'd be on the other side of the popular way of thinking. You know what I mean? To give you guys a better example of what I'm saying, had he, a lot of these dudes, and I wrote this on my notes as a matter of fact, and it just caught my eye. A lot of these dudes who play professional sports, they went to college, and a topic that I've brought up a couple of times during me doing this show is what's being called an epidemic of sexual assaults on college campuses, right? But see, that's not the cool topic. These women are out there kind of like on their own to fight this battle against, a lot of times, football players being involved, basketball players being involved. The University of Tennessee just settled this big time lawsuit because of their handling of sexual assault accusations, not admitting any wrongdoing. By the way, we've seen over the last couple of weeks what's going on over there at Baylor, right? Dude's going to jail because he got the AD, you got the head coach Art Browse covering it up, and then when he gets fired, the players on the team aren't saying the same thing we trying to get done with the police station or with the people in the police within the police department. To like, okay, if these dudes are in your midst and they're doing these terrible things, there's a duty that you have to speak out against them as well. But no, what happened was people spoke out and saying Art Browse was being railroaded. This shouldn't be happening. This is wrong. No, he's our leader. Never mentioning the women. You know what I mean? Never mentioning the women who are going to have to live like, you'll be all right. There'll be a new coach. You'll play football. You'll be all right. But it becomes about football. It becomes about the sport. So when you start trying to pat people on the back for doing essentially what you should do, and I'm not saying he should speak out, but feeling like it's wrong to kill a black kid, yeah, that's pretty much like a human being feeling, just being a regular human. So, and then I wrote some names down here. Like Jay Cutler went to Vanderbilt. There's a big rape case at Vanderbilt. Them boys went to jail. They went twice because it was a mistrial. They had to be trialed again for what they did to that girl over there. Andrew Luck went to Stanford. That's one of y'all favorite ones. This kid raped this girl, got caught in the act by a trash can, got 6 months. That's Andrew Luck's alma mater. Anybody heard from Andrew Luck? Anybody? Bueller? Exactly. Jason Witten went to the University of Tennessee. No words. Like, these are bold statements. When you step out and attack an issue that people are willfully ignoring, that's a bold statement. So moving on with the issue, and I heard someone talking on Outside the Lines today, and I can't remember his name. He was an author, but he wrote a book, and I think it said, "Do hashtag Black Lives Matter to white athletes." And I made this comment last week. It's like it's not enough for Carmelo and LeBron and for Dwayne Wade or whomever to speak out against these things. And the guy made a very, very good parallel. He said, like, athletes are always talking about my family. These guys are like my family. Well, your brother's hurting. If your biological brother was hurting like that, wouldn't you say something? Wouldn't you want to take action? These owners, these are the people. Like, we want to talk about putting our money in black banks and going to black restaurants and shopping at black grocery stores. Oh, that's fine and dandy. But you know what white people are doing with their money? And it came to my mind today while I was just sitting here thinking what these wealthy white men are doing with their money. They're buying the government. And for the last week or two, I've been thinking to myself, how did the game change without us even noticing? Like, the game has changed, the rules have changed, and we're somewhere way, way behind trying to figure it out. Well, here's the thing. This country has been for sale for quite some time now, and the people with the money have bought their way into influence. The Koch brothers, I mentioned the owner, Bill DeVoe of the Orlando Magic. He took his money and got laws changed to reflect his dumbass beliefs on gay marriage and homosexuality and LGBT rights. He did that. We're buying black folks, we get our money, we want to buy $1,000 bottles of champagne and throw money at strippers and all that. I'm not the dude to tell nobody how to spend their money, but it's times like this when folks start complaining and we start looking for answers. The race been started, but guess what? We never got out the blocks. And I'm saying we, because it took me to like yesterday to try to for this thought to formulate in my mind that's what's happening. There is no democracy. That's a farce. Every vote counts. Then what the hell is a delegate then? What the hell is a super delegate? What the hell is an electoral college? If my vote counts individually, what are all these things needed for then? The game is rigged, man. And it's been bought and sold over and over again. So while, you know what I mean? And I want to point something out that I didn't point out yesterday. And I always do this. I try to always do this. When we talk about millionaires, we talk about Jay-Z and Beyonce and people who got like hundreds of millions of dollars. We talking about people who got a couple billion dollars. I think I did make this this explanation. 1,000 million is what a billion is. The Koch brothers and all these people, 1,000 million. You feel me? Super PACs, that's what they call it, right? The people who pay these candidates and contribute all this money to these candidates. Billions is what they doing. So for one of these dudes to drop 10 mil to deregulate the water, you know what I mean, and poison a bunch of poor people in Flint, Michigan, who gives a damn? You understand what I'm saying? That's where we talk about like the economic part of this. Yeah, man, do all those things, man. I'm doing it tomorrow. I'm going to a black restaurant. I'm making sure my money is in the hands of people who look like me. And just like I said on Monday, I still only feel like that's a drop in the bucket. But instead of continuing to post racist stuff and this dude is racist and that woman is racist, I thought to myself, what is really the problem? And I took my own advice on something. I just follow the damn money. I mean, whenever there's a problem, follow the money, man. Do that, and you'll run into it eventually. And that's it, man. There's still, and through the conversations I've had as well with Kwame, with DJ Rastaroot, through those conversations, things start to percolate in the brain, and you start thinking to yourself, man, it's not just where we spend our money as consumers; it's where it's getting in the game. And I can't even say we, because I don't have no loot like that. I wish I did, but I don't have no loot like that. You know what I mean? To back some candidate and get my agenda pushed forward to the front of the table. But that's what's happening, ladies and gentlemen. That is exactly what's happening. And I don't know if you can stop that train at this point. You know, like the momentum, like even if you pull the brakes on the train, it's going to still keep going. I don't even know if you can do that at this point. This train might be one of them bullet trains. They got no brakes on and nothing, just going. The rules is different, man. You got to play by different rules. If you look like me, you got to play by different rules. Renee Cooper's in the chat room, as she usually is. You guys can join her in there by clicking that little thought bubble on your streaming player if you're listening via Spreaker.com with the Spreaker app, or the One Mic with BigMike.com website. Just click on that thought bubble, man. It'll take you right to the live interactive chat room. Speaking of getting out the blocks, man, somebody who knows how to get out them damn blocks, Marvellous. See, I'm gonna say the first name wrong, the easy part, worrying about the last name. Marvellous Iheukwumere would join me at 7:30. I spoke to her a little bit earlier today. I didn't even ask her where she was, if she was, back in the States or if she's still in Nigeria, but I'll ask her when I get her on the old Skype line. I can't do it over the phone, of course, because it's probably $85 a minute or something like that. So yeah, we're gonna do this Skype thing, and have another great conversation with what seems to be a very good person. Just reading her story. So yeah, this all kind of boils down to, again, the my sound off question. The Olympics are coming up. A lot of black athletes are gonna be there representing the United States, and I wonder how you guys feel about it, man. If you guys think they should do something on that grander stage. Like we saw back in the day with the single glove, the black glove on the fist, or whatever. You know what I mean? I don't know. I don't know that those things even matter as much today as they did back then. But you guys can sound off, man, at 678-568-9011. Please keep your comments to around 30 seconds or so that you're not trying to hijack my damn show or nothing. But I do definitely want to hear what you guys got to say. Couple of things happened today as well. Adam Silver gave his address, I don't know what it's called, to the Board of Governors or whatever, and he talked about this same matter. and he talked about him encouraging players to speak out. Here's Adam Silver and what he had to say.
I'm absolutely in favor of players speaking out and speaking from the heart about whatever issues are important to them. It's how this country operates, and I've had this direct conversation with many of our players, and I'm not one in the school to say they have an obligation to do it, but I think that those feel comfortable doing it and want to speak out, they have this incredible forum to do it, whether it's through in a formal way through media members that are in this room, or whether it's through social media. I think it demonstrates that these are multidimensional people. They live in this society, and they have strong views about how things should be. So I'm very encouraging of that.
I like to call bull if I can. I like to do that because those things in these moments sound good. They sound like the right thing to say. But what I propose to you is this. If you're a player in the NBA, the NFL, Major League Baseball, Major League Soccer, whatever, right? You're somebody of high profile, tennis or golf or whatever. You can speak out, but you have to speak out on something that everybody's comfortable with. You know, the whole groupthink mentality. Because the first time you don't and people get uncomfortable, you got a problem on your hands. Case in point. Isaiah Crowell, former UGA running back, former, what was he? Rob went here. Alabama State, I think it is. Yeah, Alabama State running back, now Cleveland Brown running back. I'm not sure if you guys saw this picture. It was floating around on Instagram and on Facebook after the two brothers got shot last week. And it was a picture of, it was like a drawing of a policeman kneeling down in front of what looked to be a black guy and his neck being cut, right? And like blood coming out of it. Isaiah Crowell apparently posted this picture and everybody lost their damn mind. And I'm the type of dude that's like, look, man, I'm tired of like pictures of things being treated the same way, or like in this case, even worse than the actual actions that have been done. Like, people didn't get this, like the Cleveland police, they didn't get this riled up about two dudes getting murdered for real. It wasn't a picture of anybody in particular. It wasn't even a photo. It was a drawing. He didn't create it. I know he didn't. He just took it and he posted. Now, call it what you want to. Call it insensitive. Call it stupid. Call it whatever you want to. But it's not the end of the world. Isaiah Crowell didn't kill nobody. Not that I know of. He's had his fair run-ins with the law, as people down here in Atlanta know and in the South know from his days at UGA, which is how he ended up at Alabama State. But he didn't kill nobody. And then I'm going to take a break here and come back. I'm going to get my guest, Marvellous Iheukwumere, on the phone. But I'm going to come back after that and tell you guys how this Isaiah Crowell thing has just taken on a life. And it's so stupid the way it ended. Oh, my God. It's so stupid. I do that. I got some more sound on the matter as well. And, of course, I got some more, sports things to talk to you guys about right here on the One Mic with Big Mike show. I, of course, am Big Mike on a hump day. Appreciate you guys joining me and listening via either Spreaker.com or the website, onemicwithbigmike.com, or the Spreaker app. Once again, if you guys want to get in on the conversation, just click on that little thought bubble you see on the streaming player. It'll get you right in the building, and you guys can let your thoughts be known. Also, oh, yeah. See, I always forget. I'm streaming as well on Facebook.com/ONEMICWITHBIGMIKE.com. I'm going to share it here in a second while I do this little commercial break. So you guys hang tight. I'm going to get Marvellous on the phone, and we're gonna have us a good time here on the Hump Day, man.
It's Thursday night, and you're grabbing drinks with some friends. Started off with a pitcher for the table, which quickly becomes two. There's pool. And there's the photo booth.
All right, everybody squeeze in. Say cheese!
Followed naturally by an order of wings. And another.
Can we get some extra ranch sauce?
Then there's the ceremonial nightcap.
So what are we doing this weekend?
And lastly, it's back to the car, which, if you're buzzed, could be the most expensive night of your life. Getting pulled over for buzzed driving could cost you around $10,000 in fines, legal fees, and increased insurance rates. Nothing kills a buzz like getting pulled over for buzzed driving, because buzzed driving is drunk driving. Brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad Council.
You must have thrown 1,000 pitches teaching him to hit a home run. Spent countless Saturdays running routes so he could learn to hit an open receiver. Endless afternoons teaching him how to hit the three-pointer. But how much time have you spent teaching him what not to hit? Teaching boys that all violence against women is wrong is one of the most important things a man can do. Learn how to start the conversation at teachearly.org. Brought to you by Futures Without Violence and the Ad Council.
This is Nnamdi Asamoah. I play football for the Philadelphia Eagles, but what I
That wasn't supposed to happen. Welcome back to the One Mic with Big Mike show here on Spreaker.com, as well as the app and the website onemicwithbigmike.com. Make sure you guys are following me on Twitter and Instagram at the number one, MICWITHBIGMIKE. Started the show off talking about what we've been talking about for the last week, man. All this cop shooting, the cops being shot, the aftermath, all these things, man. So we're going to take a break from some of that heavy stuff. You know what I mean? We're going to take a little bit of a break and welcome in my guest. I don't know where she is. I think she's in Africa, but her name is Marvellous. Real name Marvellous Iheukwumere. Am I saying that right, Marvellous?
Yes, sir. You're doing a great job.
Hey, there we go.
The best.
Hey, give me
best I've heard.
A round of applause for that. I've been practicing too. I wanted to make sure. I definitely wanted to make sure I got it right. I'm a real stickler for stuff like that. I don't remember names very well, but then when people have names or they're not common ones, I like to always make sure, though, I pronounce them correctly and I say them correctly and things of that nature. But thank you so much for taking time out of your day. I guess it's nighttime now to join me. Where are you, by the way?
I'm in Nigeria right now, and it is 12:30 a.m. in the morning.
Look at that.
I think there's about a 6-hour difference or 7-hour difference from where you are right now.
So you just did one of my pet peeves. When people say, like, 5:30 a.m. in the morning, well, it's really only one. You can say either one. Where do we start? I got notes here, so let me get back to my professional thing here. Tell me what exactly do you do for the NBA?
In my time there, I was in the NBA's Associate program, which is kind of like their leadership program for people once you graduate from college. So you do the program for a year, and then you phase into your full-time role there. Like the whole time it's a full-time position, but it gives you an opportunity to see the different kind of roles at the NBA. So at my time there, I was rotating in 4 different departments just to learn more about the business. And then at the end of my year rotation, I would end up in one department of my choosing based on kind of like what my strengths were and the job availabilities at the time. So during my time there, I was able to phase through the global marketing department, the events department, the legal department, and then lastly in the player development department, where I was able to garner a lot of information about how the NBA works from a marketing standpoint, an event standpoint, legal standpoint, and also a player relations standpoint. So it gave me like a holistic approach to the business, so that once I stuck in one department, I was a valuable asset to that department.
Now you're talking in the past tense. From my understanding, you were just kind of taking a break to get back to track, and then you were going back. So is your time in the NBA over?
No, it's not over. I'm just saying it in the past tense because that role was what I was doing last year before I took the break, as opposed to saying presently, because I did take a break, and this past year I've been running instead.
Gotcha. Follow her on Twitter, Instagram, and Snapchat at Stay Marvelous. She's an Olympic hopeful. She's also an NBA associate, as you just heard. Her name is Marvellous Iheukwumere. I'm still doing well, right? Iheukwumere?
Yes, sir.
Bang.
Yes, sir. You're doing great.
I want to also know, since you've worked in so many different capacities within the NBA, what is your relationship with the African-born players, guys like Serge Ibaka and Bismack Biyombo and Luol Deng and guys like that within the NBA? Do you have a relationship with those guys?
I wouldn't say that I have a relationship with those guys per se, but I was able to work closely with Emmanuel Mudiay, who is African.
Mm-hmm.
I was able to work with him because he was a rookie, and I was more so working with the rookies during my time as an associate last year, and got to know his mom, and also got to kind of, talk to him about my experience being someone who had once lived in Africa and moved to the States. And similarly, he's the same way. He moved to Dallas and started playing basketball, and now presently, I believe he still plays for Denver Nuggets.
He does.
But I got the chance to sort of talk to him and kind of learn about his own experience during the rookie transition program, which is a program that the NBA does for the rookies just to help them phase into the NBA, sort of like an orientation for high school students, but or orientation for college students, but in this case, it applies to rookies and teaches them the ropes of what to expect in the league and how things are run. So I got to spend some time with him there, and that's probably one of the people that I've gotten to have a closer relationship with in terms of the African-born players that play in the league.
Absolutely. Talking right now with Olympic hopeful in the 100 and 200 and 4x100. Her name is Marvellous Iheukwumere. Follow her on Twitter, Instagram, and Snapchat at Stay Marvelous, spelled STAYMARVELLOUS. You got one of the craziest stories that, like, if I were you, every time I met somebody, I would tell this story. It's one of the illest things I've ever heard. And in the light of this week, Tim Duncan now calling it a career, and Tim Duncan calling it a career with 5 championships, and a lot of people feeling like that next echelon as it relates to championships is 6 to match the great Michael Jordan. Marvelous, tell me why Tim Duncan doesn't have 6 championships, first of all. Tell me why that didn't happen.
I think the Spurs have been almost every finals. I think they've been close to getting there in terms of every NBA playoffs. I can't fully describe why he doesn't have 6
There's one particular reason why, and you were there. That he did.
I do remember.
Yeah.
Yes,
what happened? Why didn't he get 6 championships? Marvelous.
He didn't get 6 championships because the Heat advanced and won the Game 6 to go to Game 7, and actually won the series while LeBron was there with Wade. That was a great experience to see that happen, as I really have great respect for those guys, and also obviously for Tim Duncan. He is a legend, and he has accomplished a lot.
You're selling it, but you're selling it short. You're selling it short. When Ray Allen hit that 3-pointer, where were you and what were you doing in Game 6?
Oh, right.
Right, like you don't remember.
Right. Behind the security tape. But I'm happy in the way that it panned out, and I'm glad that he still has 5 other championships to relish, and in his exit out of the NBA, and he's had a great career. It could have been 6, but it wasn't.
Hold on. The way I read the story was you were one of the people charged with rolling the Larry O'Brien trophy out. Am I mistaken in something, or something, or is that not true?
It partially is. I think the article may have worded it a little bit differently than how it happened. Sometimes articles sometimes misplace words or quotes. It was actually my boss that was doing that. So
you should go with that version. The other, not the part about, go with that version, that you were the one that was going to roll the trophy out. Yeah, go with that version. That's an awesome story. What are your times looking like right now? I know, getting onto the track side of you, you're such a multifaceted person, as I was reading about you. Moving on to the track side, you've taken a bit of a sabbatical from your NBA duties to get back into your love of track and field, and hopefully end up in Rio. Now, I read that I think you had to get it under certain times by Monday or something like that. How did all that go?
Right, so I had the standard was 23:20 and 11:32 in my respective races, the 200 and the 100-meter dash.
Mm-hmm.
And for the 4x1, it was just a matter of kind of placing in a certain position in both events and sort of being close to the standard but not necessarily running the standard.
Okay.
It's not as required for the relay because it's a pool of 4 to 6 people. So it was the rules are a little bit more lax, but for the individual events you have to run the standard to be able to run that event there. So I mean, I went to the trials. It was a long process starting from last week. Sunday, we had to go to Lagos, which is where the president of our federation lives, and then from there we went to Sapele, which is the city in Delta, which is where the trials were held. And we were there from Monday to Thursday, which is when the trials started, and we ran from Thursday to Sunday, and actually 2 meets. One meet was a trials, which was 2 days long, and the other meet was a Grand Prix meet that they were supposed to hold earlier in the month, but I mean later in the month of June, but they had to push it to that week of trials. So in the 100 was okay. I wasn't able to make it to the finals of the 100, so that was it for the 100. Not being able to make it to the finals, I didn't have another chance to possibly make it in that event.
Okay.
So I had the 200 next, and in 200 I made it to the finals in the 200, but wasn't able to place in the top 3 for the 200. So there was that opportunity for going in the 200 and hitting the standard. But the next day I still had an opportunity to run a better 100 time to be considered for the relay, and things didn't go as planned, and I'm walking away with everything happy that I was able to advance to the finals in the 200, and at least I can say I'm an Olympic trials finalist in the 200, and kind of walk away with that, and kind of be happy with the progress I've been able to make in this first year running professionally, and being able to accomplish that in my first year, and also being completely healthy, which is the best that I've ever been in my whole career since high school. This is the healthiest I've ever been in the whole season. So, I'm learning about taking away the positives from the whole situation, and kind of being happy with, the outcome, even though I would have loved to be on that 4x1 relay pool, but, things just didn't work out like that. And sometimes that's just how the game of sports works.
Yeah.
You can work really hard and try your best, and things don't always pan out, and sometimes they do, but you sort of learn to accept the process and, take away the positives that you can, and keep it moving towards future aspirations. And that's kind of how I'm looking at it. And it's been a great journey for me in terms of learning a lot about my sport, the politics behind it, especially the politics behind running professionally, and just sort of seeing that world, because it's a world that I've never been in. Seeing that prior to this, all of my track career was more so an amateur thing.
How long were you away from the track?
I was away from the track for about 2 years.
Now, I heard and I read that you would still get up early before your NBA job, get your weights in, do your job, and then afterwards get your track work in. And I found that to be amazing. Like, where does that come from? That drive, and where's that want to come from, even though you weren't actively competing, still having the will to get up every morning and stay late or do your work late at night as well? Where does that come from?
I think that will just comes from my, inborn personality of being the best at what I do and being great. And because I knew that I didn't want to go into the year of training being so far behind, I knew that I had to start, at least a base training so that I wouldn't be so hard for me to catch up after being out of the game for almost 2 years. So I would train my body so that it wouldn't be so shocked when I got into the real training. And also because I genuinely have a passion for running track, and it's like something that I enjoy doing. So for me, it wasn't like a burden. It was like, oh, I have to do this because it's something that's part of me and has been a part of me for so long, since I was in 9th grade. So I think that was part of it, was it's part of who I am, and also because I have this zeal to be great at it. So nothing worth having comes easy, so I knew that I couldn't have made as much progress as I've made in this year if I hadn't started early.
Right. Sharing the mic right now with Marvellous Iheukwumere. She's an Olympic hopeful. She's also an NBA associate. Make sure you guys are following her on Twitter, Instagram, and Snapchat at Stay Marvellous, StayMarvellous. I want to talk about your hometown, so to speak, of Nigeria. What's the social attitude towards female athletes in Nigeria? I know here in America we tend to feel like, because there's Title IX and we have the WNBA, and female athletes a lot of times are celebrated in this country. We tend to kind of fail to zoom out and think about cultural differences everywhere else. Is it any different in Nigeria?
Oh, it's completely different. The social climate here is completely different towards female athletes, and that's another reason why I fight so hard for this and work hard to do this, because it's not just about me running track or doing it for myself, but it's as a platform, because I want to use it as a platform to teach people here about social responsibility and teach young girls that yes, you can be an athlete.
Absolutely.
And yes, you can also be an athlete who is also a lawyer, who's also a doctor, and that being an athlete does not just define you, and that it's okay for you to pursue multiple callings in life, and that's what makes up your journey, your story. And that's part of the reason why I do this, because I want a young girl who may have been like me growing up to see, okay, if Marvellous can do it, then I can too, and that there's nothing wrong with having multiple callings in life and pursuing those multiple callings and excelling in them. And I think that sometimes in our culture we don't do that a lot. Like, it's a lot of children just see this one dimension of calling in life, like, okay, I'm going to go to school and do this and do that. And sometimes females aren't as encouraged to be athletes because of the negative connotations in terms of what it does to our bodies and how it masculinizes us, in terms of giving us more muscles or, making us look a little bit different than the standard of beauty here.
Gotcha.
So it's completely different, especially when I'm getting close to an age where there's like expectations of marriage and all those things. And so it becomes, why are you still doing sports? Do you not want to get married? And, those kind of questions. And so it's a different expectation and a different light than what I normally would get in the States. And that's why I'm doing it, because I want to be able to challenge the status quo and show that it's possible for me to be this kind of woman and still also be a woman who still has ideals for marriage and all, and education, and advancing myself in my other career, as well as also pursuing this athletic world.
Hey, did you notice how professional I was, and I didn't try to get, even when we spoke briefly today, I didn't try to get cute with your name or anything. I didn't try to make any like little stupid ass joke about Marvellous or anything of that nature. Did you notice how I did that?
I did notice it.
Yeah. Just wanted to point it out that, I'm trying to I'm trying to do my part as well. You talk about later on in life. You talk about, marriage and kids and other things that you aspire to. And there's been a lot of concern surrounding these Olympic Games in particular, with Rio and some of the security concerns, and especially the Zika virus. As you were training and doing everything you could to get yourself to Rio, were any of those things high on the list of concerns for you?
Definitely not. I'm like the kind of person, like,
wow.
When for me, I kind of grew up in Nigeria, so I've been around that kind of environment where there are those large threats of, mosquitoes and diseases and all those things. So for me, I wasn't really fazed by it, because I was like, well, the government is going to try to take care of it. The World Health Organization, I'm sure they're going to do something about it by the time that, it comes. I was like, it's the Olympics. Someone's going to take care of it. It's not going to be that big of a deal. And if it is, then they're going to advise people on what to do. And what I would do is, heed the advice. If there's a certain vaccine I have to take, then I'll take it. If there's a certain, thing that I have to do to make sure that I'm okay, then I will heed to those directions. But it wasn't ever really a big issue for me. In my mind, I was like, well, I'll make it, and then I'll take care of what I have to take care of when I get there.
What about your parents? What about, did like mom and dad ever say, you know what, there is that Zika situation? Or is it kind of like along the same lines? They're from Nigeria as well, and they've kind of experienced the same things that you have, so it wasn't a big deal to them either.
Yeah, I think it was definitely like that. I don't think my mom ever asked me once about the Zika virus or what was going on in Rio. In terms of all that stuff, if anything, we probably talked about the political unrest there, but not so much about anything in terms of the Zika virus. I mean, we saw that it was apparent and that it was something that was serious, but never really crossed my mind that it would be something where if I had the opportunity to go, that I would say no, because it was there.
No doubt, no doubt. She's Marvellous Iheukwumere. Make sure you guys are following her on Twitter, Instagram, Snapchat at Stay Marvelous. When I was reading your story, you talked about twice in your I guess acclimation to the United States, 2 times where you had like this culture shock. Once when you were younger, and then going to school in New York. Give me an example, though. Give me a specific moment when you were like, oh, my God, this is America, that it just hit you in the face like a ton of bricks.
I would say my first day of school in Texas, when I moved from Nigeria to Texas, probably was my first realization that I was in America. And it was because for the first time in my life, I was the only person of color in the classroom.
Really?
And everyone was not the same color as me, and that was very weird for me, because growing up as a kid, obviously in Nigeria, I was mostly around people that looked like me, and to be in a classroom where I was the outsider, like for the first time in my life, I was the outsider, and to not really understand what my classmates were saying. Like, it was the same English I was speaking, but to not be able to understand what they were saying, and for them to stare at me so weirdly.
What was different?
I was saying.
What was different about what they were saying?
It was different because I couldn't hear them. It was so quick. Like, it wasn't like the same English I was used to speaking. It was like, it was different for me. And as a kid, I never really, like, I watched TV, but it was really much so cartoons, so I didn't really watch, like, it wasn't like I watched like sitcoms or something like that would show me what white people sounded like, so I didn't know. So when I first got there to school and actually saw them and saw what they sounded like, it was like, oh wow, so this is what this breed of people sound like, so this is what they look like.
That's awesome.
This is what they look like. And for them also, it was like understanding that, oh, this is a black person, a person of color, but she's not American.
Yeah.
Like, she's African. So it was also weird for them, and I would get questions like, "Oh, do you live in a tree or do you
Whoa,
swim?" Like,
kids are idiots.
Yes, it was a really yeah, it was a really tough couple of years for me to adjust.
Crap.
There was so much of a difference in where I was coming from and what they know and where they're coming from as well.
Yeah, they've got terrible parents. Those kids had terrible parents. If they would ask a human being if they lived in a tree, yeah, they've got terrible parents. By the way, I appreciate you joining me there. I got one last thing for you before I let you go, and I know it's late over there, so I definitely appreciate your time. What's the news like over there? Like here in the States, where we're dealing with these recent police shootings, does that have any impact in Nigeria? Do people talk about that kind of thing when it happens here in the States over where you are?
Oh, definitely. It's interesting because I was at the hotel where we were staying at for the competition. Had CNN. Even as young as that, when I was living here in Nigeria, my parents used to watch CNN, and if not watching it, but hear it on the radio. And so so people here are very aware of what's going on in the United States, what's going on in London. Like, everyone knows here that Trump and Hillary Clinton are running, are going to be in the presidential election, and the whole gun violence and all of that.
What's the conversation like?
All of that. And the conversation is actually interesting. Back to my point of the hotel, we were in the lobby of the hotel, and the hotel TV was playing what was going on, and the guests that were coming in looked at us, and they were like, have you guys heard of what's happened? Like, we're so angry that this is happening, that the white people are killing black people in America. And this was the day when the shooting happened in Dallas. The cop shooting happened in Dallas, and the man that was talking to us was saying, "Good job to the person who killed the Dallas cops."
Wow.
And kind of like in solitude with the person who killed the cops, saying like, "Oh, it's a good thing because they're killing people of color." And I was shocked to hear the man say that, because I knew that they know what's going on, but not to the extent to where they know to pick sides or to know, like, what's going on, and knowing that this is kind of like a racial problem that's going on in America, and they know about it a lot, and even when I came back to visit my family, my cousins were talking about it and talking about how they've been following it, even from as early as the Trayvon Martin case and all that.
Wow, that's
they're very aware.
Yeah, that's eye opening. Once again, man, she's this Marvellous Iheukwumere, an Olympic hopeful, an NBA associate. You guys definitely make sure you guys follow her on Twitter, Instagram, Snapchat at Stay Marvellous, STAYMARVELLOUS. Once again, ma'am, I thank you for staying up so late and talking to me. It was my pleasure, definitely. And good luck to you. No problem. Good luck to you going forward, man. I hope to see you on the track and doing your thing, and all the messages that you're trying to get across to people. By all means, man, the best of luck to you. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Mike. Have a great one. Thank you so much.
Once again, she's Marvellous. Real name, too. Marvellous Iheukwumere, an Olympic hopeful in the 100 and 200. Make sure you guys, once again, are following her online, Twitter, Instagram, Snapchat, at Stay Marvellous. We're going to come back, and I want to actually react to some of the things she said. Like, that's kind of wild, man. And it fits into exactly what I've been saying about the things that maybe we feel comfortable saying and comfortable doing. And I'm going to get back to the Isaiah Crowell situation as well. It kind of just ties right in, man. I definitely appreciate her being up at 12:30 a.m. in the morning. It's only one, either 12 a.m. or 12 in the morning. Pick one. Nah, that's just me being a jerk and my little pet peeves. But yeah, that was, man, Renee, man, these interviews have been like, I don't know how y'all feel about it, but like, yeah, I feel good. Like the last couple of folks I've been talking to, man, cool. Real cool. It's the One Mike with Big Mike show here on Spreaker.com and the Spreaker app. as well as on the website, onemicwithbigmike.com. You guys want to jump on in the live interactive chat room, do so by clicking that little thought bubble you see there. A couple steps later, you'll be in the live interactive chat room where you can share your thoughts, you can ask your questions, you can do whatever you want to. I'm also streaming live video on facebook.com/ONEMICWITHBIG. And I still haven't really figured out like how I can see who's looking at this or any of these things, but whatever. Eventually I will, and I'll pass it on to you guys. I'll interact with you guys on Facebook as well. But until then, I'll come back with the second hour on this day on the way of the Hump Day edition of One Mic with Big Mike.
This is Nnamdi Asamoah. I play football for the Philadelphia Eagles, but what I do off the field with United Way might be more important. I'm a volunteer tutor and mentor. Why? Because over 1 million kids a year drop out of school, and that's not okay. It takes 12 years to create a graduate, but it takes about the same time to create a dropout. And the difference between a child becoming one or the other could be me, or it could be you. Studies show that if we get to these kids earlier, their chances are better, and kids who read well by 3rd grade are more likely to graduate. So join me in United Way. Suit up and take the pledge. Become a volunteer reader, tutor, or mentor, because when a child succeeds, we all succeed. Give, advocate, volunteer, live united. Take the pledge at unitedway.org. Brought to you by United Way, the Ad Council, and the National Football League.
We asked kids what it took to be a dad. This is what they had to say.
A father is always present. I mean, what real father figure can you have if they're not there?
In order to be a good dad, you need to love your son. You need to put gas in your car so you don't break down in the middle of nowhere. And you need to make them breakfast. Yep.
I mean, just to maybe play like a board game with me, or to just stay home and play some video games with me. Just to do like that one little thing is what I really look forward to.
I'm not asking him to be a perfect dad, but he should try.
He's just a constant force in my life.
There's no other type of love like a dad's love because it's not comparable to anything else.
Take time to be a dad today. Call 877-4DAD-411 or visit fatherhood.gov. Brought to you by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services and the Ad Council.
One mic.
All I need is one mic.
What's the name of the show?
One mic with Big Mike.
You know, ain't nobody getting hurt, ain't nobody, there's no crime being committed.
And they say his style is too urban for the radio.
This is real life stuff that's happened to me.
Well, you know what?
You, and you.
One mic with Big Mike.
I like to be able to do what I want to do.
A sports talk show, but no subject matter is off limits.
Meek Mill's concert is not called the Hell Yeah I Bang Khloe Kardashian concert.
And now, your host.
Put your hands together for the one, the only
Big Mike.
One mic, 1 hour down, 1 to go on a Hump Day edition of One Mic with Big Mike, here with you till about 9 o'clock if you're listening live. About another hour to go if you're listening via the podcast, which, by the way, if you didn't get a chance to hear the wonderful interview with Marvellous Iheukwumere, Olympic hopeful, and NBA Associate, you guys can also go back and check that out either via my website, onemicwithbigmike.com, Spreaker, or the Spreaker app. You can go to YouTube, iTunes, you can go to TuneIn, you can go to iHeartRadio, all those different outlets and get the show later on. If you got to bow out now, you can come back and get the that wasn't supposed to happen. Hail Mary. All right. Let's get back to business now. All right, so moving right along, I'm going to get back to this Isaiah Crowell conversation. But first, of course, it's the top of the hour. We had a guest last hour in the last segment. So when we do that, we got to move this particular element to the top of hour number 2. It's called On This Day.
Now, let's take a look back. On this day.
All right, this is your Hump Day edition of On This Day. Short and sweet. It's like a dead time, and I can't even pull up my damn... the mouse don't want to work. Jesus Christ. All right, here we go. On this day in 1930, the first Soccer World Cup competition began in Montevideo, Uruguay. 13 teams were in the competition. On this day in 1943, the first All-Star night game was played in Philadelphia. The American League beat the National League 4-1. By the way, in case you guys didn't notice, I think there was an All-Star game yesterday. Allegedly. There was an All-Star competition held yesterday. Or is it today? I don't know. It's baseball. Who gives a damn? On this day in 1972, the Los Angeles Rams and the Baltimore Colts, their owners, Jim Irsay and Mr. Rosenblum, they just swapped teams like two children on the playground. Like, I don't want mine, I'll take yours. And they just switched teams, as ridiculous and crazy as that sounds. On this day, finally, in 1982, the first All-Star game that was played outside of the U.S., the National League records its 11th straight win by beating the American League in Montreal's Olympic Stadium. The final score was 4-1. And ladies and gentlemen, that is your Hump Day edition of On This Day. Now, getting back to the topics at hand. Before I got into the interview with Marvellous, I was talking about this notion that was put forth by Adam Silver spoke on it today about he expects athletes to speak out or he's okay with it. And I immediately called bull on that. I think in society in general, it's okay to have an opinion, right? As long as your opinion don't offend nobody and as long as it's locked in step with the cult of likability. As soon as you veer to either side, there's a problem. People want to start coming for your job and all these kind of things because they're offended. I don't know when that happened, where people start getting so into their feelings and expecting there to be some sort of retribution because your feelings were hurt. But that's where we're at. That's the world as we see it right now, or that we live in right now. I don't particularly like living in it, but whatever. I don't really have a choice, do I? Well, I do, I guess. I could just, do the old wrists and get up out of here, but I'd rather not. If given the two options, I'll just stay and deal with it. But no. So the backstory, once again, is Isaiah Crowell, running back for the Cleveland Browns. He reposted a video that was circulating, a picture that was circulating throughout social media following the shootings in the shootings in Louisiana and in Minnesota. And there was a picture of a drawing of a policeman on his knees in front of another man with his neck being cut and blood gushing from it. The police in Cleveland took exception to it. And to me, not even to me, just any rational person, I think we'll look at this and say, they took it way, way, way too far. Let me read some of these things to you guys, man. Stephen Loomis, the president of the Cleveland Police Patrolmen's Association, calls Crowell's gesture a store-bought apology. So he apologized after the fact. The normal, song and dance. You do something, somebody says, I'm offended, you have to apologize. Okay, he does that. Loomis also described Crowell's post as being, brace yourselves, please brace yourselves, as being, quote-unquote, as offensive as putting a picture of historical African-American men being hung from a tree in the 60s. All right, let's stop there. Let's discuss. One of these things actually happened plenty of times in this great country of ours. The other one was a cartoon drawing, and it was posted on social media by someone in order to express anger, is what I'm assuming. To make the comparison, I don't think now you've taken the idiot hat off of Isaiah Crowell and you placed it on yourself, Mr. Loomis. It's as offensive as posting those. A lot of those pictures that get posted, by the way, are actual photos of black men hanging from trees. Forgive me if I'm inaccurate in saying this, but I don't remember a time where a police officer was executed by a black man in that fashion, and it was captured on photograph. I don't remember that. Forgive me if it happened. I just don't remember it ever happening. You see what I'm saying? It's like you can show emotion. You can be mad and do, like, people sometimes do irrational things when they're mad. But for whatever reason, I'm not allowed to. That young black brother ain't allowed to. And now you switch the focus off two dudes that are actually dead. They're actually dead. To a picture of a guy being cut. Yeah. This your America, man. That's what it is, man. He goes on to say, quote, he needs to go to Dallas, help the families who lost their loved ones last week, write them a check, look them in the eyes, and give a heartfelt apology, end quote. This is per TMZ. No, you don't. The man don't owe nobody nothing. You know what I mean? And it ain't for you to spend his money and tell him what he need to do and also not be offended for somebody else. That's the other thing. You being offended for somebody else. Yeah, miss me with that. So then follow that up. Here comes the threat. Yeah, there was a threat. And we got more of this too, by the way. I'll get to more of this type of ridiculousness here in a minute too. He goes on to say, quote, I will pull Cleveland officers, sheriffs, state troopers out of First Energy Stadium this season if he does not make it right. You're a grown-ass man, and you claim you were too emotional to know it was wrong. Think we'll accept your apology? Kiss my ass, end quote. This is the head. You hear the power he has. This is the man who has the power to pull, as he put it, officers, sheriffs, state troopers out of the stadium, putting everybody, all whatever, 50, 60,000 other people in danger. Like, if you don't see it, then you're the blind one. You can keep telling me all you want to and keep spitting the company line that not all police, where they at? This dude is the head, you understand? And he's making these claims, not because they're empty, in my opinion, it's because he know he can. He's very comfortable making those claims. Yeah, that if this little nigga don't kowtow and apologize for doing nothing, I'm going to show y'all what I can do. And while all the attention is on a Facebook post, where's the outrage to this? You pulling people out of that stadium ain't got nothing to do with Isaiah Crowell. That dude, he can get cut in training camp and not even play. What's really good? All this is he's the same dude that dude that did those shootings in Dallas is. Looking for an excuse to do some irrational stuff. Looking for one. And he's choosing a Facebook post. My man, have fun. Have fun. You know what I mean? 2 weeks ago, we were talking about 1 million people in the street celebrating the championship. And these are the people that's policing that place. Yeah, and I'm saying these. I'm putting them all in the same basket. Until somebody get the balls to say, no, I work in a place, and the people I work with are wrong. That dude is wrong. The governor of Minnesota did it. When their dumbass head of, what is he? I made sure I wrote it down so I could say exactly what he is. Another thing happened last night. The Minnesota Lynx women's, the WNBA team, they came out with shirts on. You know, the shirt, excuse me, gee whiz. I'm getting too excited and reflux going on around this piece. They came out with black shirts on. Again, I got to make sure that I definitely get all this right. I don't want to paraphrase any of this. I'll tell you guys exactly what was on the shirts and then what the subsequent reaction to the ridiculousness was. All right. So the shirts on the back had the names of Philando Castile and Alton Sterling. Then they had the Dallas shield, I guess. And then up under it, it says Black Lives Matter. All right. Yeah, the police, the off-duty police that were there at the game, they packed up and left. They left the basketball, left their post, and dipped. Now the whole thing, apparently these guys volunteer their time, and so they're saying that as long as these guys, and on the front of the T-shirt, by the way, it says "Change starts with us." Nothing disparaging to the police department. They're in, by the way, in Minnesota where Philando Castile was shot. All right? So these people take it upon themselves to just bounce. Took their names off the list of available officers to work security at the game. And then their head guy, whose name is, bear with me, he's here somewhere, Bob Kroll. He's the police union president. He backed it up by saying, yep, they were right to do that. They were right to leave all those people there in danger. Because I don't even know, what is there to disagree with? Don't kill black people. If they did something illegal, do them like you do the white folks. Lock them up. Take them to jail. Let the judge and the jury figure it out. Don't kill them. I don't understand how that is a divisive issue. But like I said earlier, it's an easy issue to get behind and speak out on, and then you expose who the real idiots are. Here's what Bob Kroll had to say. I went and got the sound to make sure you guys could hear this ridiculous idiocy.
Why anyone in the entertainment business, whether it's music entertainment or sporting entertainment, would like to weigh in on this divisive issue. I think you're losing your viewership. My opinion, they should stay out of it and play the game that they're there for, and not weigh in on politics and not weigh in on police actions. It's easy for people to Monday morning quarterback. The biggest picked on groups are NFL head coaches, NFL quarterbacks, and the police. Everybody thinks they know how to do their job better than all of us. I wouldn't dream of going to someone else's job and weighing in on what they're doing right and wrong. But everybody thinks that watching one video snippet, they're a police expert, or watching a police movie.
So now we're to believe the offenders are now the offended. My man, if you can't see the difference between me questioning a 3rd and long play and Tom Brady's decision where to throw the football at, and me questioning the decision to pull your gun out and kill somebody in front of their woman and their baby, why does he have that job? Why is he there? When you tell people it's all right. So, by the way, you tell people, your people, it's all right not to do their jobs. Whether they're there in a voluntary capacity or not is not the issue. People go to these public events, especially in the light of everything that's going on, like Brussels and Paris and all these places. People go with a certain expectation of security at these places. Y'all just pick up and bounce because of some T-shirts. And by the way, kudos to those girls as well. And I mean bigger kudos to them than anybody in any other sport. Because if you notice, it wasn't just the black players wearing these T-shirts, man. It's everybody. All the sensible people that understand that this shouldn't be that. It shouldn't be that easy to just shoot somebody in cold blood. And now you got all these these good police out here. Either they silent or they saying dumbass stuff like that. One or the other. I don't know if this story is true because I saw it on Facebook and I didn't do any additional research. But the story of the black police woman who spoke out against her cohorts and the way sometimes things end up for people who look like me, her being fired, that can't be a thing, man. That lets you know systematically. You know what I mean? It's like you got to get on to get along. Don't make no ripples, and you'll be all right. As long as that's the situation. Look, man, understand this. Wanting change is one thing, expecting it is another. I don't expect it. I'm going to be 100% real about that. I don't expect nothing to change. Not one iota. Like, all this stuff is going to happen. Feel me? And my man, I am No Doze in the chat room. You guys can join him in the chat room, by the way, as well, by clicking on that little thought bubble you see on the streaming player wherever you're listening. He says she actually has a page, and she was fired. Oh, she wasn't fired. See, that's why anytime I say anything about Facebook, I have to always say, unless I go and do the additional research, I don't know if it's true or not. Always put the disclaimer on it, because that Facebook will make you look like a damn idiot. You understand? Nakia Jones. Thank you. It's important that I know her name. Nakia Jones is her name. So bigger picture, man. Talking to Marvellous Iheukwumere in the last segment, she talked about the attitude in Africa. She's walking. She's in the lobby of her hotel when they found out about the Dallas shootings, and folks are like, and he said, not folks, a guy was like, good. That's what they get. That's kind of, sometimes, look, and here's the thing, too. I'm going to keep it real about this as well. Not as though, that makes it seem like I never keep it real about anything else. No. When you wage a war, sometimes there are unintended consequences. I tell my son, I tell my wife, the people I love, you can't go into a situation anticipating someone's reaction to what you're going to do. You know what I mean? Like, you can't walk up to somebody and slap them in the face and just anticipate they just going to only slap you back. And next thing you know, they pull out a gun and shoot your ass dead. You can't anticipate that stuff. So the best thing to do is control your initial action, i.e., don't kill black people. Don't do that. Don't let your badge fool you into thinking that you're invincible. Don't do that. Because like I said, this dude is a crazy dude. This is the other thing I want to mention as well. And I think I mentioned it a couple shows ago. As black people, stop being fooled into allowing this man who killed these policemen and injured these other police people to be associated with what's going on. Because that's the distraction technique. That dude was crazy. They found manifestos and him planning out certain things long before these two dudes got shot. Like his mom said he was already pissed off about other tragedies. He was looking for a reason. He chose that protest in Dallas as his reason to go bat crap crazy. You gotta make people separate that from this. That's long-standing anger built in with some crazy. Like, I can be crazy and not go out and kill police. I mean, I can be angry and not go out and kill police. That's possible. But the way it's being framed and the way it's being rolled up into this nice little package, it makes it seem like, see, this is what happened. This is why the police are so fearful for their lives. Bull. You killing that dude in front of his baby, you a punk. You don't need to be protecting nobody. I don't need your damn protection if that's what's going on. You ain't protecting and serving nobody. You a punk getting a check and being allowed to wear a badge and a gun. That's all that is. And the other thing you at home. Getting paid, chilling. Everything gotta stop for these officers, man. You know what I mean? Everything gotta stop for them. But these two men who's, living life, just living their life, man. Gone now. The kids. I saw today that Alton Sterling's son spoke today. I ain't even look at it. Like since it happened, that vision of that kid crying, just uncontrollably crying, has been like haunting me, and I'm not even playing. It's literally been haunting me. I can see his face right now, trying to cover up his nose and face as he's just uncontrollably crying because his dad is never coming home again. But you want me to stop everything. These policemen got shot. And then this other thing you want to do. You want to frame it that they was protecting the protesters. Let's keep it real. That dude was shooting at certain people wearing blue with badges. Yeah, he was shooting at them. That's why they blew his ass up. Which, again, let's not let that just walk away, just roll out. Like, that's a thing. I mean, you just blow people up. Anyway, this is the One Mike with Big Mike show. Getting back to my initial thing about my initial, I guess the crux of what I'm talking about. Being able to speak out and speak your mind and have an opinion only when it's aligned with everybody else's, with the masses. Here's another example. This is pretty damn funny. In Canada last night, apparently some dude from a quartet group, they're singing the national anthem. the Canadian national anthem. And my man decided he was going to remix it on the fly. And here's what it sounded like.
In all thy sons command, we're all brothers and sisters, all lives matter to the great.
What? He just threw like a quick little all lives matter into the joint real quick and shut the whole spot down. Yeah, dude. And as many of you may have suspected, he got suspended from his gig for that. Why? He's got a differing opinion than the masses. Why is that term just deemed as insensitive, or he had some sort of ill intention? The people who employ him are forced to now suspend him from his gig because of that. Now, I can't start hollering out, it's America, because it wasn't. He was in Canada doing it. But the same thing would have happened here. The same exact thing would have happened here. The same result would have come about. Like, I don't understand living in that world. Because you do these kind of things, and it happened. I remember, what's his name? Chris Culliver. When he was like, man, we don't play that gay stuff in his locker room. They suspended him. Like, you think after you suspend this dude and force him to go to some sort of BS sensitivity training that his thoughts on the matter are any different than they were before? No, if anything, they may be even worse because he lost money over it. The hard thing to do, and I keep saying this, is to have honest conversation with people. If black people are honest, right? If everybody that's running around posting and hashtagging Black Lives Matter is honest about it, it is kind of ambiguous. You know what I mean? Let's keep it real. It's not very to the point. And depending on who you talk to, at what time of day you speak to that person, they'll give you a different rendition of, well, actually, it's supposed to mean this and that and the other. Okay, when something's that broad, you can't really just go so hard defending it. You know what I mean? Like, you gotta, through your anger and through your tears and through your frustration, you gotta give some leeway, man. And understand that everybody ain't gonna have the same understanding that you got on a certain subject. It doesn't mean they hate you. It doesn't mean they think your organization is stupid. It doesn't mean any of those things. It may, but you don't know unless you have a conversation. Somebody just saying all lives matter. You know, because then people bastardize it and blue lives matter. You know, all kind of crazy stuff starts happening. You know, canine lives matter. You see all this kind of like this bastardization of something because it's so ambiguous and it's so able to be. That's why I'm so against that kind of stuff, man. Like, everything don't have to be a slogan. It ain't got to be cute for it to be real. You know what I mean? Like the slogan, stop killing police, stop killing black people. Yeah. Don't let a traffic stop turn into a murder. See, that's not a sexy hashtag, but it's true. And it's something that even the most rational, that you don't have to be the most rational person to be like, you know what, that is kind of true. A broken tail light shouldn't turn into cold-blooded murder on either side. You know? Because you know stories of cops who pull people over and it's turned bad for them and they never made it home that night because of a traffic stop. Some dude had something in the car he shouldn't have had or got warrants or something and he messed around and shoots the police. We know those stories. We do. So my statement is the same on both sides. That shouldn't turn into that. But now I think people have just gotten so off topic and out of focus, and they want to defend something they don't really need defending. Okay, you believe hashtag Black Lives Matter. Somebody else don't understand it. Move on. Let's talk. Let's get to the issue. Let's get to resolving this thing. Let's get, at least attempting to resolve this thing. I got one more segment of the show. I got to come back and talk about this Dwight Howard. I got to talk about Joe Paterno. SEC Media Day, a.k.a. the Hillbilly Weird Fest, is going on this week as well. Nick Saban and Paul Feinbaum is about to get into a fight. That's rich. We'll get into all that kind of stuff coming up next on the One Mike with Big Mike show, heard here on Spreaker.com every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. As well as on my website, you guys still have time to get into the live interactive chat room by clicking on that little thought bubble you see on the streaming player. You guys can do that a couple steps later. you'll be in the building, man. Come back, get this last segment over with, and we'll get on over this hump.
This is Nnamdi Asamoah. I play football for the Philadelphia Eagles, but what I do off the field with United Way might be more important. I'm a volunteer tutor and mentor. Why? Because over 1 million kids a year drop out of school, and that's not okay. It takes 12 years to create a graduate, but it takes about the same time to create a dropout. And the difference between a child becoming one or the other could be me, or it could be you. Studies show that if we get to these kids earlier, their chances are better. And kids who read well by 3rd grade are more likely to graduate. So join me in United Way. Suit up and take the pledge. Become a volunteer reader, tutor, or mentor. Because when a child succeeds, we all succeed. Give, advocate, volunteer, live united. Take the pledge at unitedway.org. Brought to you by United Way, the Ad Council, and the National Football League.
We asked kids what it took to be a dad. This is what they had to say.
A father is always present. I mean, what real father figure can you have if they're not there?
In order to be a good dad, you need to love your son. You need to put gas in your car so you don't break down in the middle of nowhere. And you need to make them breakfast. Yep.
I mean, just to maybe play like a board game with me, or to just stay home and play some video games with me. Just to do like that one little thing is what I really look forward to.
I'm not asking him to be a perfect dad, but he should try.
He's just a constant force in my life.
There's no other type of love like a dad's love because it's not comparable to anything else.
Take time to be a dad today. Call 877-4DAD-411 or visit fatherhood.gov. Brought to you by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services and the Ad Council.
Yep. In my white tee. In my white tee. Welcome back. Last segment of the show here on this hump day. One Mic with Big Mike. Here on Spreaker.com as well as on the Spreaker app. Also on the website onemicwithbigmike.com, spelled the number 1 MICWITHBIGMIKE.com. Also, don't forget, man, you guys can still sound off about anything that you hear in any show, whether you're listening via the podcast on Spreaker, my website, TuneIn, iTunes, YouTube, iHeartRadio. Whenever or wherever you're listening, you guys can always call 678-568-9011. Leave a little 30-second blurb, 30 seconds or less blurb on what you're hearing and your thoughts. Or if you just want to answer the sound-off question of the week, which is, how do you feel, man? How do you feel about, in light of everything that's been going on, racially between the police and black people, how do you feel about these black athletes, going to Rio this summer to represent the United States in the Rio Olympics? You can do that once again, 678-568-9011. And sound off, man. Make the call, leave a message. Now, as we move forward, we got some other things to talk about, some other things within the world of sports. Dwight Howard had his, I guess, introductory press conference today with the Atlanta Hawks. I didn't even, you know what, I was going to, get the sound from it because my man started crying and all that. But, hey, whatever, dude. I don't care. I just play ball, for one. And two, to me, that's not a good sign, man. You've been in the league a minute. You ain't just get drafted or nothing, man. You've been in the league a minute. That dude he just really comes across to me as a very, very fragile, emotionally fragile human being, man. The way to hear him talk about the things that bother him, and that he's the I want to be everybody's friend type guy. As a basketball fan, man, and wanting the best for my city, man, it just kind of it concerns me. I don't know how y'all feel, Hawks fans. I don't know how y'all feel, man, but yeah. I'm like a dude from Missouri now. You got to show me, cuz. Here's what Dwight Howard had to say. Quote, this is a real new beginning for me, and I'm happy to share that with my loved ones. And around that time is when he started crying about this. And he went on to even more explore his feelings and let everybody know about the things that piss him off or get under his skin. He says, quote, "The one thing that just really I hate to hear with a passion is that I'm a cancer in the locker room, and I'm a guy that wants to separate and divide a team. I've never been that way my whole life. I've always been someone who wants to bring people together, whether that's my teammates or that's my community, families, whatever it may be. Just to hear that word, cancer, it pisses me off, to be honest with you, because that's not who I am. I've never been someone who didn't care about my teammates. I've never been that way. And to hear cancer, to hear diva, things like that, that's not me." It's like, dude, keep it moving, man. Water on the duck's back. You ball. You do your gig, man. You don't pout on the court. Like people see a dude like that who has no poker face, man. You see him from a mile away, man. And people judge you based on that. Like, people aren't making this stuff up, man. They're judging you based on the persona that you're portraying. That everything's all good till it ain't type persona. That I want to be a leader until things go bad for me type persona. I'm optimistically hoping for the best, but I'm not going to be surprised if it turns out for the worst when it comes to Dwight Howard here in Atlanta. My man Deshaun Tate, he's in the chat room, by the way. You guys can be too by clicking on that little thought bubble you see on the streaming player that you're listening on. By the way, also click that little heart too. There's a little heart there as well to show that you like the show. I don't care if you really genuinely like it, but lie and just click the heart anyway. Thank you. My man Deshaun Tate was down there today. Had a pretty interesting conversation, as I usually do with Deshaun. Yesterday, came by the crib to check out the little setup here, the little podcast setup or whatever. We had some interesting conversations, but he was down there. He took some pictures. If you guys want to check out his what is it? What is the damn thing called? Facebook, right? He's got pictures of him and Big D Howard on there. And like for what it's worth, he comes across also as a very cool, like a cool dude. Like, if you want to hang out and just chill out and have fun, play video games, something with a dude like that, yeah. But when it comes down to like leading a team, winning ball games, I don't believe I can trust you, man. It's like I say, prove it to me. Other thing I mentioned earlier today, some more additional documents have been released in the insurance claim case between Penn State and their insurance company as it relates to the Jerry Sandusky sexual molestation situation up there at Penn State. And more information is coming out. Like, at this point, man, like, if you're one of those paternal kids, you gotta shut up. You gotta just sit down and be cool, because your dad is a jerk. By the way, yeah, still think all lives matter. Like, these dudes watched for 40 years while kids got molested and raped on a college campus. You understand? All lives do not matter. Prove it. Yeah, that's something that you can't bring me off of that. All lives do not matter. Additionally, all black lives don't matter. All Asian lives, all Mexican lives. They're bad, crappy people in every color and shade, religion in this world. And all of them don't matter. You understand? That's real talk. But again, things are allowed to become bastardized and turned into all these different things, and you have to spend time explaining to people, when really what you're just trying to say is stop killing black kids on the street, police. How about we just do that? Don't kill black kids on the street or anywhere. If they did something wrong, lock them up the same way you do the white boys. Same thing. But no, even more information came out. Greg Schiano, former Rutgers head coach, former Tampa Bay Buccaneers head coach. Also now he's the defensive coordinator at Ohio State. Tom Bradley, who is a defensive coordinator at UCLA. Their names are in these new documents, having known back to the 80s and 90s what Jerry Sandusky was doing. That's bad. That's a bad life to live in, man. If you that dude, man, yeah, whatever the worst things that can happen to you, I'm good with the whole situation. You understand? Like, when it comes to kids, like, be an adult. Like, do just what reasonable adults would do. Don't watch a kid get raped in the shower. How about just that? Like, I don't know if I'm just like an alien or something. I make things seem more simple than they really are. You know, you see a grown man doing something inappropriate to a child in the shower, don't run away. You know, don't do that. Say something, B. But maybe I'm just an alien. Oh, also, I gotta correct something from yesterday. I talked about Usain Bolt, the fastest man alive. I was correct in saying he was injured, but I was incorrect in saying that he wouldn't be at the Olympics. And I did make comments relating to the mixture of ganja, the wacky tobacco, and roids, and how there may not be a good mixture. Well, apparently it is a good mixture because he's healthy and he has qualified for the 2016 Rio Olympics. So Usain Bolt will be there, contrary to my previous statement on the matter. Also, somebody got to tell me this too. What's going on with this Pokemon stuff? I'm not up on that kind of game as far as this whole I'm seeing it written in things and I'm writing about, but I don't find it interesting enough to read any further past the headline about the new, I guess it's the new Pokemon, and like it's addictive to adults. Adults are really into it. Yeah, I'd rather just get the information from word of mouth instead of wasting minutes and hours and days of my life trying to figure out what the hell it is. But if you guys know, feel free. Tell me what the hell's going on with this Pokemon stuff, and we'll rock that on. Also, the biggest news earlier today was the Golden Boy, Tom Terrific. That 4-game suspension that Roger Goodell been trying to slap on this dude for 2 damn years, finally it's going to stick. Like, if you listen to ESPN, they'll tell you that, no, he could do this. He can't do nothing. Like, even this time, when he tried to appeal, like, what was turned over or overturned this time, it wasn't going to happen. Like, most legal people said, hell no. You lost, B. You know what I mean? And the one thing I wonder is, like, if you're in the union, is the union still representing Tom Brady through all these appeals? Like, you paying your union dues, and they spending all this damn money on this wild goose chase that's not going to amount to anything. Like, B, you going to miss those four game checks. You even knew it because you came back and redid your deal to where you can get the money that you was going to make up front, and the hit to your pocket wasn't going to be as big if you had to sit out 4 games this year. I think now it's going to be like $1 million for all 4 games combined. Yeah, that's in the couch cushion at the Brady crib. Yeah, so now if I'm in that players union, we got to back up, man. Bro, you just got to go ahead and just take the L. Speaking of the union, they got 4 years left on this CBA, man. This collective bargaining agreement, and we were doing the Sports Kings when the labor dispute ended, and the first thing I said were, these dudes are idiots. The reason they had a labor dispute in the first place because there was an opt-out of the deal after a certain amount of years. They came back this time, and under the guise of labor peace, yeah, no opt-outs for 10 years. We're gonna be solid for 10 years. And I'm like, you're an idiot. You should always have, in some way, shape, or form, some sort of out in a contract. Whether it be easy to obtain or difficult, there should be there. This has none. So basically what ends up also happening is all the people who fought in the previous labor disputes, they'll be retired by then. Then you have all these dudes like the Andrew Lucks and the Cam Newtons of the world who have never been through this stuff, so the owners can just take these dudes through the damn ringers. Not only that, everybody complaining about Roger Goodell got too much power. He got too much power. All right. So what now? Y'all told him it was cool. Like the people, one of them being Brady, who, he don't think he's going to ever be in a situation where it's going to be an issue for him anyway. He's like, I don't care. The commissioner told him at the negotiation table, it's a non-starter, B. We're not even going to discuss that. And the players were like, all right, bet, we won't. Let's talk about something else, like ruining the product even further by limiting practice time, limiting the time that the quarterbacks, these brand new quarterbacks who have to play because of the new pay scale, they have to play right away. You can't just sit them on the shelf anymore, a la Troy Aikman. I'm not Troy Aikman. A la Aaron Rodgers and them. You got to play them. because you only got him for really 3 years before you know whether you got him or not. That's why this Ryan Fitzpatrick thing is happening the way it is. Like, Geno Smith was a second-round pick, so he don't even have, like, a fifth-year option on his deal. The Jets ain't worried about paying Ryan Fitzpatrick. They know they're not going to compete necessarily this year anyway, so they got to think to themselves, let's make sure we know if Geno can or he can't before we let his ass walk. Last year, that boy busted him in the mouth and broke his mouth wide open, so he couldn't continue to compete. This year, he's healthy. The dude's been cut from the team. He got picked up by Rex Ryan and the Bills, the African kid that busted Geno in his mouth over like $800 or something. They ain't worrying about Ryan Fitzpatrick. You gonna sign for this little bitty money, comparatively speaking, or not? And we gonna rock on. Yeah, all like this thing with this CBA and all this kind of stuff, man. It's turned out so bad. Like, you wondering why you starting to look around like who's gonna be the next good young quarterbacks. You got right now. You got who? You got Luck, Cam. You got Russell Wilson. Then what? Like, the rest of you dudes, like Rodgers is kind of in the middle. Manning's already gone. Brady's on his way. Where we at? Yeah. It's really Breeze. He on the way out too. And now you tell them they can't come to the facility, or you start docking draft picks and all this kind of stuff, man, and practice time and all this kind of stuff. Those are the dudes that need it, but they can't do it. It's just the whole collective bargaining agreement was so terrible for the players outside of the money split. Like, they spent so much time worrying about how the money was going to split, the revenue was going to be split. All these other things just flew by the wayside, as though in the next decade, nothing was going to ever come up. No opt-out in the contract. Yeah, have fun letting Roger Goodell run a rough shot. I don't care how much you hate Tom Brady or love Tom Brady. You got to understand this. The issue stopped becoming about whether he did it or didn't do it, deflate those footballs. Of course he did. Of course he knew about it. Of course he did. But he didn't know about it 4 games worth. That's ridiculous. It's 4 games? A quarter of the season? Yeah, Roger Goodell's a douchebag. Tom Brady, Robert, all of them just douchebags. This should have never gotten to this point, and now everyone, you get what you deserve. Whatever. Who cares? I meant to actually ask Marvelous about this. The NCAA, the Power 5 is proposing something. You know what? I'm going to keep this. I'm going to keep this till Friday, actually. We can talk about the ESPYs real quick and then get up out of here. The ESPYs are going on. I think they're going on right now. What am I looking at? I'm looking at the Home Run Derby or something. The ESPYs is going on right now. ESPN's annual, award show, sports award show is going on right now in LA. Give you guys some of the categories if you don't already know them, because guess what? It's happening as I'm speaking, and I don't know what portion they're on. So, some of the main categories, I guess, if you're looking at it like in comparison to like the Oscars, like Best Actor and Best Female Actor or Actress, or I don't know what the politically correct term is. Ridiculous, just say it. The best male athlete got guys like Steph Curry, Cam Newton, Bryce Harper, LeBron James in the category. Best female athlete, Breonna Stewart of UConn, Elena Del Don of the Chicago Sky. That must be WNBA. Katie Ledecky, a swimmer, and Simone Biles, a gymnast. So those are the people up for like the main, I guess, category. The best game, UNC versus Villanova, the championship game, the Arizona Cardinals, Green Bay Packers in the divisional playoff, the Cleveland Cavs versus the Golden State Warriors, the NBA Finals. That wasn't good at all. Like, kind of, Kyrie showed out some and LeBron showed out some, but as a total package, the games were horrid. The Jimmy V Perseverance Award is what I was trying to say earlier. That's what will go to TNT NBA sideline reporter Craig Sayer, man. So I'm still not on the right channel. I don't even know what channel it's on. It must be on ABC. Like, I just don't do award shows at all. John Cena, the wrestler, he's hosting this joint. He's like the Baby Rock, right? He's like so much more than just a wrestler now. He's like doing movies, hella movies, hosting stuff. Like, that's the transition right there, man. Big muscle head, meathead dude, all over the place. Good for him. Couple of other things that I thought I put on this damn page, but guess I didn't. Oh, some of the presenters: Steph Curry, Dwayne Wade, J.J. Watt, Justin Timberlake is going to be there. Didn't Justin Timberlake get into some trouble at the over like Jesse Williams' speech or something? Like you Negroes got all over Justin Timberlake because he's one of the white boys that sings and dances, and he's on songs with Jay-Z and Timberland. So apparently that means he owes the black community something. Don't be ridiculous. Don't be ridiculous. That's bull hucky or whatever those people say that don't like to curse. I thought about that. I thought about cursing more on the show, but I'm still a trained professional. I'm still a trained. I actually have broadcast certification. If I can say it properly, certification. You know what I mean? So I'm not gonna be a douchebag about it. All right, that's gonna do it for today's show, man. We're gonna wrap this thing up, and I'm gonna go let me make sure though. Let me make sure I say everything I had to say. Yeah, I mean, the stuff with Isaiah Crowell, the girls, the ladies of the Minnesota Lynx, you know, understand what this is. It's a product of something bigger. That whole shut up and play mentality. Shut up, boy. Just play. Remember, I talked about it early in the football season with Ezekiel Elliott. When Ezekiel Elliott came out and was talking about how he didn't get enough touches, he was in the hospital earlier that week, and for him not to get the football in the only game they lost this year, Ohio State lost this year, you know, everyone went on this, like, well, not everyone, a lot of people, Doug Gottlieb in particular of CBS went on this whole, look, you can't do that. You're a football player. Just play football. Shut up. It's ridiculous, man. Especially in the society that we live in now, where every dumbass dickhead has a damn opinion about something in a medium in which to express that opinion. Just because somebody play football, like, you don't have to listen to it. Like, I'm the type of dude that's like, you know, I take the Dave Chappelle approach to things. You know, Dave Chappelle had that joke about, like, the first person somebody called about 9/11 was Ja Rule. I was like, I don't care what Ja Rule has to say about this. You know what I mean? Whatever. But that don't mean Ja Rule shouldn't be able to say it. Of course he should. I don't have to care. Anyway, let me find this damn outro music so I can get up out of here, man. It's been a pretty decent show, I think, man. I got through everything I wanted to get through. You know, even all the little stupid stuff. I'm gonna save this new NCAA rule for Friday. We're gonna start getting into more football stuff, man. The fantasy football. I'll probably do that this year, man, because of the show of fantasy football team, man. It's so frustrating and so. I might. You know what? I'll put it out to you guys. If you guys want to do fantasy football for the One Mike with Big Mike show, we'll do it. If not, I don't really give a damn, to be honest with you. But we'll start talking more college football as we get closer to our fall camp in college and training camp in the pros, man. We can get ourselves into the football mode of things, man. I'm smelling it. It's starting to sound that way on television, or look that way on television. Everybody's getting ready for football, and so am I, man. So we'll start doing that, man. It was a good hump day edition of Big Mike, or average, whatever. Appreciate you guys for checking me out on the live stream on Facebook or whatever. I don't know how many of you did, but for the ones that did, I appreciate it. Everyone who listened via Spreaker, via the website, onemikewithbigmike.com, whether you did or you didn't join the live interactive chat room, all appreciate it, all the same, man. I want to say thank you to Deshaun, I Am No Doze, of course, the lovely Renee Cooper for all her help, and for the guest, man, Marvellous Iheukwumere, awesome young lady, man. Y'all be looking out for her, man, as far as this track thing goes. If you're one of those people who enjoys, like, that's all I pretty much enjoy when it comes to the Olympics. You know, the track and field stuff, speed and power. Give me speed and power, and I'm good. All the other stuff, get out of here. Speaking of getting out of here, man, that's what I'm going to do, man. So I appreciate you guys. I'm going to come back on Friday. We got a guest on Friday. We got, follow me on social media, man. I am, not I am, One Mike with Big Mike. The number one, WITH, the number one, MICWITHBIGMIKE on Twitter and Instagram, and we'll let you know who the guest is for Friday. I can't remember off the top of my head. Anyway, this outro has gone way too long. I'll see you guys on Friday.